And turning now to Charleston, South Carolina, where NBC's Kathy Park is. Kathy, high tide is supposed to hit in literally just a few minutes there. What's it like right now?
Gotti, well, Dahlia has been downgraded to a tropical storm, but we are seeing and witnessing these extreme and dangerous conditions. I want to set the scene for you. We are right by the battery, and behind me is the seawall, and beyond that is the Charleston Harbor. And I would say in the past hour and a half or so, we were actually on that seawall. We were seeing some of the waves crashing over, but it was nothing like what we are experiencing right now. All of that water is now pushed farther inland. I would say I'm standing at about a foot of water right now, and it continues to rise. Officials are saying, look, if you don't have to be out, do not be out right now. But we have seen several groups just kind of taking this storm all in. As you mentioned, high tide, we're just a few minutes away, but it could coincide, of course, with these tropical storm conditions, and it could only exacerbate the flooding in this area. Throughout the day today here in Charleston, a lot of the residents began preparing for this storm. They started stacking up sandbags. We saw the same thing just a few minutes away along King Street. A lot of the businesses closed early because they were preparing for something like this. This is just the beginning, Gotti. We anticipate conditions will only worsen, deteriorate during the overnight hours. So it kind of remains to be seen how much worse it could get.
And Kathy, we know of at least one tornado that was reported there. It's a pretty crazy video. So on top of the tropical storm warning, you're also dealing with high tides and a tornado watch?
Yeah, just a couple of hours ago, there were several warnings and watches throughout this region, and there was one in particular, Goose Creek, South Carolina, which is about 20 miles north of where we are right now. We're told that an apparent tornado touched down, flipped over a car, injured two people inside. But this is kind of the stuff that we're experiencing, Gotti. Things are changing, and things are changing rapidly. In fact, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we were standing by that seawall. We had to evacuate to higher ground because we were essentially getting trapped. So the water continues to rise, and things are not looking good at this hour. Gotti?
And just to recap, I mean, and it looks like right now, is what you're standing in a road? Was that a road?
Correct. I'm standing in the middle of the road. Obviously, I don't want to get too far in there because I just don't know how deep the water is, and that is kind of the advice that officials are saying, especially now that it's dark. You don't know how high the water is getting. So if you do see standing water, don't drive through it. We're in a safe location right now. But yes, Gotti, just a few minutes ago, this was not underwater, but now it's about a foot underwater right now.
And besides your lights, it does look extremely dark out there. Is the power on, and did a lot of people evacuate?
From our understanding, a lot of these homes, it appears the lights are still on. We're actually being lit up by our vehicle because it has gotten so dark in the area, but that really is a big concern, especially during the overnight hours, and that's why officials are urging people to stay indoors. You just don't know how bad the conditions will be, and you just don't know what you'll come across, especially with nightfall.
Absolutely. Kathy Park, thanks so much, and please stay safe out there. Again, right now, the big concern for most of the coastal area is storm surge. Up to 5 feet is forecast for parts of Georgia, as well as North and South Carolina. And joining us now is Ben Almquist. He is the Emergency Management Director in Charleston, South Carolina. Ben, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. High tide is any minute now, 8:24 along the Charleston coast. What is your biggest concern over the next hour or so?
So, of course, our biggest concern is going to be that tide water coming in, plus the storm surge. Of course, we've got high winds coming in. We've already had some tornado activity throughout the day. So it's just everything coming together. You know, we want to make sure that our residents are as safe as we can possibly keep them, while also making sure that we're looking out for our first responders and other field crews. But it's definitely the water that is the biggest concern to us right now.
Ben, I'm glad you brought up that the tornado and the car that seemed to be flipped over. I'm not sure if you've been able to see that video. It was over by Goose Creek, if I'm not mistaken, over by Charleston. This is the video right here. You see other cars on the road, and they are okay, but it seems like this car just gets picked up by the wind and just tossed like it's a toy. When you see that, what's your message to other people?